fantastique, cheveux sans dessin, avec des cigarettes, et des amis qui jugent, remarque de ta jupe. Peu importe ce que tu es, ce soir tu es une star. Quand tu l'inventes et fais couler, tu peux faire heureuse, placée comme si elle possédait ça. J'aime la façon dont tu parles, si douce, si lente. Prenons quelques et voyons comme tout brille. Se sentir heureux, je pense que je t'aime. Je t'ai vu à travers le néon. Combien de fois plus de nuits ont répondu c'est plus sur ce voyage. Personne m'en tient ma vie. Oublier ce qui laisse un air de glace. Peu importe ce que tu es.
Thank you, Soccer Mommy, for the music.
Appreciated Soccer Mommy for your contribution.
But yeah, shout out Colo Boy. That's his song, Beige 70. The remix of it just hit over 1 million plays on Spotify. So shout out to Colo Boy.
Hell yeah. Coming up.
Yep. What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
Yo.
It's Sunday. We're here again. Back on our spoop.
Yeah, Minty's doing very well.
Yeah. He's a little static sometimes, but don't get in his flow. He's chilling.
He's vibing. Anyway, yeah, we got a somewhat quick one. We got a good one for you guys. Glad to see Minty as well. Me too. Minty's looking nice and healthy today. Cute as ever. Anybody have any other words? Or you want to jump right in?
I guess just as a disclaimer, just because the last couple episodes too, and this one especially as it goes forward, we're kind of working with times and length of episodes and stuff. So bear with us and give feedback too. what you think is better or what works.
Yeah, if you have any like thoughts on what we could do to make the show run a little smoother, run a little better, times and whatnot, yeah, just reach out to us always. Instagram, Twitter, it's all at Spoop Podcast. So, yeah. Are we good on that?
Yeah, let's kick off in the outrageous news.
Cool. So yeah, I tweeted about this yesterday when I saw the headline. So Kyle Rittenhouse, the Kenosha shooter, the guy who on video killed 2 people and fatally injured brutally injured a third. I don't remember if he lost the arm or they were able to save it, but yeah, his arm was pretty much in pieces. So this guy, quick backstory. We talked about it a little bit before in other episodes, but Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse, piece of shit, traveled across state lines. I believe it was a 30-minute drive from his house, across state lines with a AR-15 that did not belong to him. He pulled up to a Black Lives Matter protest with the intent to defend property that is not his, to defend somebody else's property. And he ended up getting into an altercation and killing 2 protesters and severely injuring the third. And of course, because of our racist and terrible criminal justice system, he was able to get out on a $2 million bail that big faces like the CEO of MyPillow and others contributed to his bail fund of $2 million. And this is at the same time when young black men like Khalif Browder had to serve years in Rikers, as well as 2 years in solitary confinement for allegedly stealing a backpack.
Yeah, no evidence ever surfaced that he even stole a backpack.
And it's so you have a guy
Even
that
if he did,
got shipped off to Rikers and spent 2 years of that sentence in solitary confinement for a backpack, a piece of property, while this guy got out on a $2 million bail for killing 2 people and injuring a third while saying he was defending somebody else's property with a gun that he illegally had and he drove across state lines to do. So, beautiful system we have here. Works perfectly, exactly how it should. The rich get their way and the poor die and suffer. It's insanely disgusting. And we just saw something like this similar happen to the killer of George Floyd, Derek Chauvin. He got out on his bail, which was hundreds of thousands or something. I can't remember. A couple thousand, regardless. And this is the same time where California just failed to pass their end cash bail system and replace it with the risk assessment. And there's obvious issues with risk assessment. But it's definitely leagues better than the current cash bail system, obviously, and we should strive towards that and work on that. We should, and it's disgusting. And this is just another example of how systemically fucked this system is.
Yeah, it's just kind of laid bare that, like you said, like maybe risk assessment isn't the best, but anything other than
my only thing with it is not the actual thing itself. It's racist judges.
Of course, yeah.
And that's the thing with it. That's
Right.
my whole gripe with it, and that's like a sad reality. That it would still affect Black and brown minority communities exponentially more than it will white communities.
Right.
And that's not to say only Black and brown people are affected by this. Obviously not. I'm not an idiot, but obviously you can't lie.
They definitely are with the bail case. Like
it doesn't do anything to change rulings.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, just to echo it, like we got to abolish the cash bail system. It just shows this right here shows it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not effective at keeping those that we might consider dangerous or shouldn't be rehabilitated out in prison. Versus, like you're like Khalif Browder, like he didn't do anything, and just because he can't afford to get out, he ends up killing himself. Is the his story?
It's a sad reality, and it's like a very normal occurrence.
Yeah.
People come out of the prison system just beaten and broken. I'm gonna ban this guy really quick if anybody else has anything to say really quick.
Yeah, don't click his link.
Yeah, nobody click that link. These fucking stupid Twitch bots did.
The H.E.R bot gets them usually.
They must be
It's
they're
usually
getting
it's
bad.
usually me or Michael that gets them.
We're getting them on YouTube too.
Really?
Michael's a little slow today. So,
All right, there we go. Got him banned. All right, back to what. Does anybody else have anything to say? Because I pretty much got what I needed out. It's a disgusting system. Obviously, we need to end cash bail.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse is a fucking piece of shit criminal. And listen, I'm not in a video game. If somebody clapped him, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I'm not saying anything, but if it just so happened to happen in a video game,
he's definitely in the process of changing his name and shit now, I imagine.
protection, because he's greenlit everywhere.
Right. Well, like George Zimmerman, I don't know if he ever ended up changing his identity. I don't know how no one killed his fucking ass.
Right? He fell off the face of the earth, though.
Yeah, I think in the years following, like the Trayvon Martin murder, he had like multiple incidences where he like pulled out a gun like on his wife. He tried to sell the gun.
Oh, he did. He tried to sell the gun that was
he's straight up exploiting the whole controversy of the situation.
No, yeah, he's a terrible fucking human being.
So do you want to move on from this one?
Yeah. Let's move on.
Okay. We'll just pull up this tweet here just so we can frame the next couple articles in the conversation. As we all know, we're here in California right now. This was a couple days ago, or a week ago now. It was Tuesday, pretty much. Breaking: California Governor Gavin Newsom announces overnight curfew for nearly the entire state as coronavirus cases rise at record pace. So we all know that there's a curfew after 10. It's till like, was it 5 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. And I just keep that in mind. We're all living that out right now as we're seeing coronavirus surge in all the states, especially, but California and Texas really getting hit.
Yeah, I mean, we're breaking records every fucking day.
Yeah, and one of the worst parts is, and to speak specifically on this decision by Newsom and their other decisions, like last Tuesday they made it where most indoor restaurants have to close inside and have to do outdoor seating. They really didn't. It's the same problem. They offered no economic relief to small businesses and these businesses that can't afford to do a setup outside safely or effectively. And yeah, they're doing some meaningless curfew that like most places are closed after 10 anyway. I guess they're trying to crack down on like just gatherings after 10, but that's not really happening. The only time it is maybe protests. So now this gives them leeway to crack down on protests.
And I've even heard tonight like there's supposed to be like a anti-curfew protest on Saviors or something. I think it's tied to like anti-mask and stuff. Like I heard about it from somebody at work, but
But either way, the cops love to drive up and down.
No, you have protests that may not be in the best faith, or like even if their hearts are in the right place, they're doing it for the wrong reasons. And this crackdown on those protests leads to crackdown on other protests that maybe have a little bit more oomph to them.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I don't understand. Like I don't know the full sentiment of what's going on with this protest, but it's some kind of anti curfew shit. They're doing like a drive on Saviors or something.
So yeah, I just have that to kind of set the conversation. Can we pull up this Jacobin piece? And I saw this first in the New York Post, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, that's disgusting."
Yeah,
but totally indicative of our system. This is from Jacobin. Meatpacking bosses in Iowa allegedly organized a betting pool on how many workers would get COVID. A new lawsuit charges that bosses at an Iowa meatpacking plant set up a game to bet on how many workers there would contract COVID. The tyranny and cruelty of the American workplace knows no bounds. As of mid-November, viral outbreaks in the meatpacking industry have resulted in almost 50,000 COVID-19 cases and over 250 deaths. This tragic and unnecessary toll stems from the attack on meatpacking unions, which weakened worker power in the plants, the collapse of, or failure to enforce, state and local safety standards, the calculated negligence of employers, and the appalling deference of state and federal officials to the industry. The inescapable conclusion: packing companies were willing to gamble with workers' lives to keep the line running. Well, that willingness to roll the dice is no longer just a useful metaphor. A new lawsuit filed against Tyson Foods in Waterloo, Iowa, charges that a meatpacking plant manager organized a, quote, cash buy-in winner-take-all betting pool for supervisors and managers, unquote, on how many workers at the northern Iowa facility would test positive for coronavirus. Tyson has denied the allegations, although the supervisors in question have been suspended. So, yeah, they can deny the allegation all they want.
Yeah, they know they did it because they fucking fired his fucking guilty ass.
Right. And this article will go more at length, but obviously what they're saying here is, this is indicative of the fact that they're literally having games where they're betting on like who's going to get coronavirus. It's just a microcosm of what's really going on.
Yeah, I was just about to say there's always a bigger fish, dude. Like this is look at fucking Wall Street. Like what's happening at the look what's happening at the highest levels.
Or just at the like Tyson executive level, even like they're literally gambling on them by cutting their unions, not enforcing any safety for them, not paying them any extra money, just general negligence. So it's just funny that it's also manifested into literal like supervisors and managers like betting on people's lives.
I mean, and if you think about it, it's like loading the bet. Like it's a loaded bet because you just continue to not like provide for your employees. Obviously, more people are going to get COVID.
Yeah, and in a way, like they can play these games because they've already played this game in the mass scale.
They control the factors that determine the outcome of their bet.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll keep reading here because we'll go kind of more at length with this. Tyson's COVID lottery lays bare the shocking contempt that bosses at the Waterloo plant and throughout the industry have toward meatpacking workers. The lawsuit, which Tyson is trying to have heard in federal court on the grounds that President Trump's April executive order ordering the packing plants to stay open forced their hand, also details the company's failure to provide any meaningful social distancing or protective equipment, directives to visibly ill line workers and supervisors to stay on the job, and even incentives, a $500 thank you bonus for workers who turned up for shifts whether they were sick or healthy. The U.S. workplace is a tyrannical place, true, and Tyson bosses have wielded their power in especially callous, even if these allegations are true, which they are, sadistic ways. But such behavior thrives in part because it is abetted by public policies that fail to check private tyranny. The suit against Tyson dovetails with a complaint filed this week by the Iowa ACLU and others, which argues that the state's Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the OSHA, has abdicated its responsibility to protect Iowa workers. Like many states, Iowa operates its own OSHA plan. The state plan is largely funded by federal dollars and is required to operate, quote, at least as effectively, unquote, as the federal program. But as the ACLU complaint details, it has been an exercise in indifference. Iowa OSHA conducts no strategic enforcement of health and safety law, simply fielding complaints. And that is about the end of it. Of nearly 150 COVID-19 related complaints filed between February and October, Iowa OSHA investigated only 5, closing the rest without a second look. As of early October, despite the viral outbreaks in Iowa meatpacking, the industry had received no safety citations for violations of workplace safety standards, and just one record-keeping violation, resulting in a paltry $957 fine. Keep in mind, Tyson's a fucking billion-dollar company, for an Iowa premium beef plant that sickened 338 of its 850 workers, and then lied about it to local public health officials. The pattern and process of handling complaints neatly captures Iowa's OSHA's priorities. For workers, the complaint process is a textbook example of administrative burden in which access to basic social protections or services is discouraged by unnecessarily onerous or complicated filing procedures. And yeah, I would add on to that further, like, it's just it's a textbook example of just capitalism straight up failing, like, as it always will, because it's not looking out for these workers at all. And if these workers had a say, like, in whether or not this place was going to be open and their protections and how to go about things, they wouldn't be putting themselves at risk. So
Yeah.
just the way the system's set up puts all these people at risk unnecessarily, and yeah, literally they're gambling with people's lives.
Yeah, I mean, and even outside of the pandemic, that's just the nature of capitalism. Is you gamble with people's lives, which are resources, labor.
Yeah.
And then you do whatever you can to maximize profit, and that is literally that is capitalism, and that's what it always will be. You can have people on the right and the conservative side try to dismiss that and be like, oh, that's corporatism, not capitalism, etc., etc., etc. They can cope all they want, but that's the system that they support, and that's just the truth of it.
Yeah, and it's just diametrically opposed to democracy. Like, anyone that says they're for democracy and they're a capitalist it doesn't work.
I mean, also, you're not a capitalist unless you own capital, and unless you're part of the capitalist class. So, you can say you're a capitalist all you want, but until you show me the deed to your factory, I'm not going to take you serious. Because you're literally, at that point, you represent a system that doesn't help you. You're going against your own interest.
Yeah, exactly. We can move on from that one. Disgusting. Shame on all the big poultry companies, etc. Shame on Trump. Shame on all the administrative systems that allow this to happen.
Yeah, and to put more shame, let's talk about more flaws in our prison system. We have this article from Vox here. I saw it yesterday, and I thought it was pretty nuts. So just the title alone is insane. 80% of those who died of COVID-19 in Texas county jails were never convicted of a crime. So just before I go into it, it's already insane to think that so many people are dying because of this virus. But like looking at this, 80% of the people that died in these jails in Texas, like, they weren't convicted of a crime yet. These are as our legal system works, these are technically innocent people that were held in these small rooms and forced like their exposure to COVID, and now they're dead because of it.
Yeah, we just straight up have an over arresting problem.
Yeah.
We just captured too many people.
Yeah. And then starting off, the devastating human toll of COVID-19 in Texas correctional facility. I'm just reading from the very top really quick. Revealed in a new report by the University of Texas at Austin researchers. Over 230 people have died from COVID-19 in Texas correctional facilities and in county jails. Nearly 80% of them were in pretrial detention and hadn't even been convicted of a crime, according to the new report. A team of researchers at the University of Austin at Texas reviewed data from the Texas Justice Initiative, which collects information from multiple sources, including the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. They found that at least 231 people have died of COVID-19 in the state correctional facilities between March and October. This report only looked at state-operated prisons and county-operated jails, as researchers were focused on how Texas COVID-19 prisons policies fared. The 231 figure is likely to be a conservative count, as researchers note. TDCJ and county jail update death reports after autopsies are conducted, sometimes months after the fact. Additionally, many people have died without ever being tested for COVID, and others died due to pre-existing conditions worsened by the virus and are not counted in this figure. The death of an inmate is tragic regardless of their conviction status, but the UT Austin report reveals that the state's lack of urgency in keeping as many people as safe as possible. Of the inmates in prison who died, 9 of them had been approved for parole and were awaiting release. 21 of them had served 90% or more of their sentence, and 58% of those who died in prison were eligible for parole. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of fucking just unnecessary deaths. And yeah, it's disgusting to see, and I'll have some more to say in a second. Let's keep reading though. It's almost we're almost done with it. Texas isn't alone. Despite the alarm sounded by policy experts, correctional officers, and prisoners themselves earlier this year, COVID-19 has been allowed to ravage prison populations, harming inmates, correctional officers, and the surrounding communities for months. Civil rights groups and criminal justice experts advocated reducing the prison population as much as possible to flatten the curve. Unfortunately, few states took serious action to combat the virus in prisons and jails. According to the June ACLU report, no state earned more than a D- and most earned Fs. As the pandemic was spreading through the U.S. in the spring, prisons quickly became one of the epicenters of the crisis, as my colleague, his colleague, German Lopez, reported in April. And there's a quick thing from it. First, before I continue really quick, it's really disgusting to see how the state handles prisoners and how they treat them as subhumans, regardless of the crime they committed or more importantly why they committed this crime, what led them to commit this crime, what were the conditions in the community that they were brought up and raised in that caused them to commit this crime, what's their mental health state, etc., etc. And sadly, because of how disgusting our criminal justice system is, we treat these people as nothing. We treat them as animals, as savages, without knowing anything about them or the crime that they committed. And sadly, COVID does not care about what crime you committed. It will take you out regardless. And the deplorable conditions of our prisons, sadly, has led to a lot of people dying. And this, like the report said earlier, this is only state, actual state prisons. This, we don't have numbers from private prisons, which I think is probably an even scarier number.
Yeah, just because the conditions are usually worse.
And just the whole profit motive as well.
Right. It's just more bare. It's just the profit motive is way more out there.
Yeah.
You just call this the criminal labor system. Once they get you in there and they get you working, they make money off of you, they can pay you so little, and on top of that, they can get funding for you as well.
Yeah.
Right. It's really the end state of what they want every employee to be.
100%.
The completion.
And then, we only have a couple more paragraphs, so I'll just finish it off really quickly. This is the report from his colleague, German Lopez. In Rikers Island in New York City, the jail's top doctor called the coronavirus outbreak there one of the largest in the country with hundreds sick, a public health disaster unfolding before our eyes. As of April 20th, the confirmed infection rate in New York City jails was more than 9%, compared to less than 2% in New York City more broadly. So as bad as it was happening in New York at the time in April, it was way worse in New York jails. A whole 7% worse. And when talking about population and people, that's a lot of fucking people, dude.
Remember in the before show or pre-show, we were talking about Andrew Cuomo's new book.
Oh yeah, How We Beat COVID, or
I think that's the subtitle. How we beat COVID. And there you go. They're just How We Beat COVID is just letting it run rampant and murder people in jails.
Yep, and then just pretending it's not happening.
Yep.
Finishing it off here. In Michigan's Parnell Correctional Facility, 10% of prisoners and 21% of staff tested positive for the coronavirus as of April 15th. So look at that.
Jeez.
Not even the savage prisoners, how we treat them. It's the people that are taking care of them, or not taking care of them, but are controlling them. According to the Detroit Free Press, when controlling for population, that makes the outbreak there even worse than Cook County's or Rikers Island, which is insane to think about. In Ohio, more than 1 in 5 of the state's confirmed cases are in the prison system, as Columbus Dispatch reported. The Merrick Correctional Institution, where 73% of inmates were tested positive, 73% of inmates tested positive for the virus, makes up a majority of those cases.
Jeez.
73%. Also, shout out to print and local news, Detroit Free Press, all that. All those are so important.
Columbus Dispatch from Ohio.
Yeah, and then
that's crazy. 1 in 5.
Yeah.
States confirmed cases.
All came from prisons and shit.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think we've made it far enough in the article. I pretty much talked about everything I need to talk about. It's disgusting how we treat prisoners in America. At the same time, when other countries are just like off the top of my head, in Germany, for example, if you can successfully escape prison, they expunge your case.
I guess I could commit any crime then, because
Yeah, they just like watch any documentary on prisons in like northern countries. They treat them so much fucking better. They treat them like humans. They give them opportunities for schooling and jobs. They really rehabilitate these people instead of looking at these people as if they're criminals or as if they're these. Yeah, exactly. They don't treat them as like these subhumans that need to constantly be punished and forced into labor and whatnot.
Right. I think to like reiterate that too, like from the Jacobin article, and also that piece too with the prisoners, like you can really see. I can't remember. It's like an author or something. They're like, you can tell like a society by like how they treat their prisoners.
Yeah, you judge a society how they treat their prisoners.
Yeah, and it's like from the last two articles, you can treat that broader. It's like you can just look at a society how they treat the most vulnerable, that being prisoners and like these frontline workers, like these factory workers and poultry farm workers.
The poor, basically.
The poor, yeah, the working poor and the poor that are shoved into the prison pipeline system. Like they're just so fucking exploited. So it's like, yeah, if they're willing to do that to the most vulnerable in our society, like we really got to take a look at the rest of our society.
It's like, because obviously, like how we talked about earlier, replacing cash bail would be good, but it's the way these judgments are dealt. Like
the whole system undergirds it.
Like most police even admit like they know where to go because they say like, oh, it's where crime is the highest.
Or you have that big Bloomberg quote. It's like you Xerox this description, 18 to 25 black male, and you just give it to the cops and they'll go just clean up. They'll just go clean them up. And that's just one of the most mask off true statements about our criminal justice system.
And what they really mean is, they know where to go, where they can convict people for crimes and have the least resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
Especially, and which means least amount of money.
Yeah, exactly. These communities that they're going to, these black and brown, these minority communities, these poor communities, they know that they don't have the capital to clap back at the state, so state's just going to eat them up.
Yeah, because even in most cases, you just like basic challenging would probably get most of this stuff thrown out. But
most people
if you
can't
don't even have that.
challenge.
It's like, all right, I got to go for the plea deal.
And you have so many people in this country that can't even afford a $400 fucking emergency. So how the fuck are they going to afford to fight back against the police?
Right. They're worried about their own day to day.
Exactly. They're worried about paying rent and feeding their kids, man.
Speaking of that, we have a little screenshot we can pull up right before we go to break. And I think this, maybe not a bow on the conversation, but a crippling gunshot to the neck instead to end this kind of theme here. This is from the U.S. Census Bureau Household Pulse Survey between October 14th and 26th. Titled here, Tight on Cash. More than 14 million people have little or no confidence they'll be able to pay next month's rent. That's November's rent. You see there in black, no confidence that they can pay November's rent. That is 5.6 million people. In the pink, slight confidence, which I'm assuming is not very good based on this. That's 8.9 million people. Moderate confidence, which still isn't very good. 12.9, and then only 25.3 million there in yellow said they had high confidence that they can pay this next month's rent.
And that's nuts. It's like, at what cost?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look, like just the moderate to no confidence is more than the fucking high confidence. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, yeah, those numbers are really interesting too, because it's like
they're so fucking high.
Yeah, and those are clearly people, and we've talked about this before too, like people that maybe weren't working poor or weren't just scraping by, and
Got
now because of this
pushed into that.
yeah, they're falling into that category, and that's why you see those big
Yeah,
surges.
what's since what is it? Since COVID or since April or something, like over more than 8 million people have fallen into poverty.
Right.
Like
Below the already stupid line they
yeah,
draw.
the already stupid and sketchy line that is our poverty line, but fucking yeah,
Right.
8 million more people have fallen into that spot because of COVID.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like capitalizing off of vulnerable people in our society. Here it is, 5.6 million people have no confidence that they can pay their rent. So assuming that no confidence means they literally can't pay next month's rent, and nothing's really changed in California as far as lockdown and economic assistance. It's gotten worse.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, if you take that number to be true, like, okay, fuck, 5 million people next month just lose their place. Like, yeah, that's crazy. And it's not, I don't think that specific thing is gonna spur a bunch of people to change anything either. It's just
Or
gonna
it's
be
like if it's gonna put them on backlog, or like.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like a big part of this is Joe Biden's not gonna fucking fix this problem, man.
No.
Joe Biden's not gonna get these people their fucking houses back.
Right. The thing that was if you remember in like the spring when the first economic hit came, that was real bad, and we started going into lockdown. Like people were organizing between their apartments and stuff. They were doing eviction strikes, etc. They, in some places, they got a moratorium on rent because of their organizing.
Yeah.
But then the government gives us a little shitty stimulus, not enough money, and then really pauses everyone, and then just undoes a lot of that, undoes a lot of the organization.
It pauses everybody because they think, oh, like our organization worked. They pause, the moratorium freeze ends, and we're back to this shitty situation.
Right.
It's fucking disgusting. And there's only California specifically is one of the few states in the entire U.S. that because of COVID they can't turn your water off, and we're very fortunate to have that.
Right.
Like they once the water line is turned on in a property because of COVID, you're not allowed to turn it off. But
that's good.
Like the overwhelming majority of states don't have that same luxury that we have. If you can't pay your water bill, they're gonna turn your water off during the pandemic when hygiene is one of the most important things. Like what the fuck? Like, yeah, it's gonna get worse before it gets better with this fucking pandemic, man.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden is not gonna be our savior for this fucking virus.
It really is just the crumbling of a society. When you look at the foundation, it's like, all right, what's first to go? Well, what's the base of society? The people who support it, the poor, working class, people who rent. Those are the first
Big
to go,
jobs.
first to be eaten up by the system.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to be facing that, and it's not looking better either. Like other people have pointed this out, but we really do have, like, especially in California, like the worst of both worlds, where we had like these businesses are shut down just enough to where they can't, and they're not getting economic stimulus, but at the same time they're still not, like, it's not effective to actually preventing the spread of coronavirus. So we're still getting infected. So it's like, what the fuck are we doing? We're just tanking.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think you worded it best. Like we're getting the worst of both worlds. We have the people in small businesses of California getting zero stimulus, but we're also still rising and rising and rising because we're not shutting down properly, and because we're not getting economic stimulus.
Right. And maybe that's their fucking plan. Maybe they want everything to get hollowed out so Amazon can just get bigger when this pandemic. I mean, you've seen it. This pandemic, Amazon has fucking increased their wealth. So maybe that's the game plan.
They're
just
moving in everywhere.
Yeah, they're just vultures.
Even right here in Oxnard.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're trying to do a fulfillment center here. All the mayors were for it. Like, they're using never think these people. I mean, look, they were betting on people's lives. They're willing to capitalize on a pandemic to make money off of us.
Yeah, at the same time when Bezos is making, like he's made so many billions since the pandemic started, his workers were only given a couple months of $2 hazard pay that was taxed separately from the normal wages, and a tax $500 bonus. So yeah, this dude does not fucking care about you. He never cares about you. You don't, and for the people that I guess I have coworkers watching. The people that are watching, the only reason you're getting paid $15 right now is because left legislators like Bernie Sanders and AOC forced Amazon and Disney to pay all their workers anywhere in the United States $15 an hour. Without that, Jeff Bezos wasn't going to just magically one day be like, oh yeah, I'll raise your wages, because he doesn't care about that. He cares about making profit. He cares about you working the most hours and getting paid the least that he can pay you. And that's at the same time when your goal is to work the least hours and get paid the most. But he has all the power as the employer, and you have no power as the employee. It all comes back to this really simple struggle of power, but under a capitalist system, it's an asymmetry of power. Jeff Bezos has all the power. We don't have any. We don't have any voice.
Say no vote.
Exactly.
Is basically these corporations. It really is just straight up corporatocracy. The corporations are getting so much wealth and power, they're becoming the new government.
Yeah.
And if you want like anything, you basically have to go to them. Like if you need economic opportunity, you have to go to a big corporation and say, "Come move here, please. We'll give you anything you want."
I mean, fuck. Look, Ian works a job that is. It's a subsidiary of Jeff Bezos. We're streaming on a platform that is owned by Amazon also.
Yep.
Twitch. Like, it's inescapable. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, we exist under an ecosystem of big business.
Yeah.
And
does anyone have anything else, or do we want to hit our break so we can steamroll through?
Yeah, I think we hit a good little rant there. But yeah, I think it's a good spot for a break. When we come back, we're gonna be finishing up talking about some interesting stuff, talking about something super local, talking about a little bit of Biden, and then hitting some international stuff for you to end it off.
Just concentrated ownership is not good. Makes bad decisions from the top down.
Truly. So yeah, stick with us. We'll be back after a break. We're gonna listen to a song, and then come back. Go get some water. Go to the bathroom and stuff. All right. We'll be back.
Faced with these situations, laced with a bit of payment. Not trying to make a statement, but don't rain on my arraignment. My tracks don't burn, they flaming. Hot Cheetos are the same, man. Don't got designer Ray-Bans. Don't speak in terms that's layman. Still living lavish, disgranded amongst the savages. And this war-torn and ravaged, they cram us into our palaces, no. With they damages causing the earth's calamitous demise. No surprise outlined in our parameters, yo. I feel alright just for the night. I'm getting high. I'm getting high just for the night. I feel alright. I feel alright just for the night. I'm getting high. I'm getting high just for the night. I feel alright. Got my trench coat, throw it on my back. Man, the black can't find me cause I covered up my tracks. In fact, they ain't never seen my shit. If you tell them where it is, then I bust. I live with a tongue-tied grip, trying to grasp my words, put a syllable together like you never had heard. Man, fuck you, nerd, my words insane. Into skulls and murder, brains and vertebrae, they sliding through. Colony here, better hide your crew. Never lied to you, I told you so. Came here playing it slow to show. Space and ghost to coast. The skill we ones who show the most. Hold them close, he's straight too far. Cover his eyes, can't know who we are now. I feel alright just for the night. I'm getting high. I'm getting high just for the night. I feel alright. I feel alright just for the night. I'm getting high. I'm getting high just for the night. I feel alright. I feel
Yo, what's up? We're back.
Howdy, howdy.
We've returned.
Let's give everybody a second here to come back. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that song. Like I said in the chat, check out Omega Nova. Oh, it's omega.nova on Instagram. Dude puts out fire music. He just put out a new project earlier this month. I can't remember already, but yeah, he just put out a new project. Go check it out. It's fire. A lot of heat on it, front to back.
Yeah, thank you to all joining us too.
Yeah.
Appreciate sticking with us.
Also, if you're before you continue,
yeah, go ahead.
if you're here watching us and you don't have a Twitch account, please make a Twitch account and drop a follow. It really helps us. It looks better for like our statistics and stuff, and it also pushes us up on the little like cert or the browse section. It gets us higher up on there.
And you can interact once you.
Yeah. Also, if you have an account, you can type in chat and ask us questions, or even just comment on what we're talking about. But yeah, we're always
some like emojis eventually, so you'll get shit like that too.
We are predicted to get it, I believe, on the 25th, right? So
our next Wednesday show.
Our next Wednesday show, we're supposed to get our affiliate, which is awesome that we already smashed that.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, if you're watching, you don't have an account, please create an account and drop a follow. It really helps. And you can also talk to us in the chat.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
For those watching on mobile, to pull up chat, you take it from landscape to portrait, and then a little chat will pop up, and you can type to us. So yeah, do we want to kick off the show?
Let's do it.
Cool. Yeah.
Do you want to pull up some of these images, Carlos, and I'll just kind of talk to people through it. And Carlos will just kind of scroll through these here, but this is the magazine they had, and I'll tell you where I went. Hold up, sorry. Pull up Discord. As the Revolutionary Student News, RSN, their mag. So they were handing this out on Saturday. We covered it. Did we cover this last Wednesday in our show?
Yeah, we covered it on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a memorial for Manzano, who, as we know, is having a mental health crisis. And instead of responding accordingly, they sent police officers instead, and well, he ended up dying. Was killed, murdered.
Yeah.
So I went on Saturday at like 2. It was really cool. They were outside, I believe. I don't know if it was where he was living or his father, but his father spoke. And that was really touching to hear. You know, he was just kind of going back on like, you know, my son was a good kid, and he had like, you know, he really just had mental health problems, and like no one really came out to help him or anything. And there's every turn in the system, you know, rejected him and didn't give him a place to, you know, thrive or any of that. And that's how this thing happened. Also there was, the Revolutionary Student News and the Oxford study groups. They were passing out the mag. They also had I don't know what they were, but they had a group of, I want to assume they were like Native American or indigenous dancers, and they played. It was a really loud drum that they played, and it was a means of useful disturbance because you could hear it throughout the whole like area where we were, and that was really cool to see. And if we could go through some of these pages, I'll read the opening of the pamphlet. We'll go through those, just so you guys can hear some of the things I have to say. They also, before I read it, I had it tabbed here. They had one speaker that read on student perspectives and their perspectives with police and mental health in the school, and they were all from like Pacifica, OHS, I assume local schools. And that was really cool to read also, or to listen rather, the accounts in the schools and the kind of oppression that they face. But I'll go ahead and read here from the magazine.
Before you start, Carlos, yeah, just make sure you just cycle through all of them.
Yeah, just cycle through them because
which page are you gonna read from?
Just the first one.
Okay, you just want me to go through all of them?
Yeah, you could just go through it though, because I'll just read some of the words they have. To touch on the Manzano murder, they say mental health under capitalism. It is unfortunate to learn about the events that led up to Asa Manzano's murder. He felt alone in his struggle with Asperger's and was constantly rejected from jobs and his peers as he grew from a young, joyful child to an alienated, depressed young man. Under the economic system of capitalism, we're all expected to be productive members of society because if we are not making money for the capitalist class, we are seen as an abnormality and shamed for being any different. We, as workers, are expected to be sociable, focused, and subservient to our bosses' demands in order to be the best money makers we can be for the capitalists of this world. They want us to be making money for them at every outlet they can find by being dedicated to the, quote, hustle and propagating class ascension as something we should desire and strive for in our work ethic. With this poisonous mindset, workers are extremely overworked, but are told this laborious and alienating struggle is what we need to endure to become a part of the capitalist class, as if members of the working class truly can do this. The working class recognizes this lie as they sit among piles of bills that are long overdue, especially now in the time of the New Depression. Millions have lost their jobs and currently cannot afford rent, food, or other essentials to live. Austin was heavily afflicted by the isolation he felt in his own struggle, and it led him to becoming suicidal as he grew older and noticed the contradictions of capitalism as they lay bare in front of him. He was rejected by most of his peers and even his own family. The culture in our society is heavily influenced by the capitalist demand that workers be as productive as they can be and not challenge or question the alienating conditions in which we're all forced to live under. We as workers can find better solutions to this system of oppression and injustice. We can move beyond the old society and create a new one, a better one. And yeah, I can't be better said than that.
Yeah, I also wanted to say like beautiful words written by them, but also beautiful artwork as well, and it's so awesome and inspiring to see the younger generation be so politically charged and involved, especially in a not not like the normal like lib way of like BLM, but like creating magazine like creating like the magazines and like
it's and the class language that they're using is like
it's
so awesome to see in the youth. Not that the youth isn't class conscious, but it's old people act like we're not, or we're unintelligent or something.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, and also just I wasn't this fucking like politically charged when I was.
No, we were in a different political moment for sure.
It's awesome. It's awesome to see, and always support the youth and always support our local community.
I think they, more or less from what I've seen, I think kind of how we felt, we were kind of starting to like get things more than like people were who were older than us. I feel like the younger generation's just kind of more accelerated than even us.
Right, with the material conditions, rather, with the depression and all this shit happening to them. It's like what else is there to do?
Because a lot of our like political awakenings, like we're still under Obama, but like I imagine a lot of people waking up to this stuff under Trump. Like it's just got to be even that more extreme.
And a lot of these younger students, like think like some of these freshmen, like they weren't even politically cognizant for like even the Bernie thing. Like we got to experience that. So like they're even post Bernie is their like political start.
Yeah, which is awesome. Also,
and dark, a very dark reality to start from.
But also for those looking in chat, I just blasted both of their Instagrams, Oxford Study and the Oxnard Revolutionary Student Group. Go check them out. Go support them. Go drop a follow. They're like big organizers here for the left in Oxnard. Go show them love. I'll spam it a couple more times. Yeah, make sure you go support them. They're awesome.
Yeah, they are. And the magazine they did was great. Like all these pictures are of like Megan Hockaday, Asa Manzano. They're all local people that have been killed as a result of improper response to a mental health crisis.
Mm-hmm.
We can go past the magazine. Did we go to the pictures of the some of the posters they had?
Yeah. Or go ahead and go towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So there they have that was the memorial for Austin. I believe that was a poster that some of the students made. It's just really cool.
So yeah, the art is fucking sick. Yeah, it's the poster's super cool to fucking look at. Holding down the fucking pig, shoving an apple in his mouth.
Yeah.
Pissing himself.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah, that's fucking badass, man.
At the end, you see that bundle of roses that's down there?
Mm-hmm.
At the end, they handed everyone, or mostly everyone there, one of them. It was really interesting.
So that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So we can move on from this.
Yeah, big rest in peace.
Yeah, there's this one's great too, by the way.
Yeah, and this is something we've talked about a bunch on this show, is the sad reality of our fucked mental health and criminal justice system, and how they intertwine, sadly, and how many people with mental illness we lose to the police.
Right.
Here, let me get all the rest of the pages just up on screen real quick.
Yeah.
In case anyone wants to read
Yeah,
them,
maybe.
because this will be up on our YouTube later, so
you can pause and read everything.
Right. And yeah, shout out. I mean, not only they've done a bunch of other work too, which is really cool to see. And yeah, everything about this, how it was set up, they had the father speak, and that was very moving. And you can tell his resolve was strengthened by the fact that both, pretty much just random community members came out and a show of solidarity. So that was real powerful.
Mm-hmm.
They had the disturbance with the drums, which is really cool. Also, it makes everyone on that whole, block or two radius aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they've had to think of other ones. Obviously, they were one of the organizers for that massive protest we had in downtown Oxnard post the George Floyd killing.
Yeah.
But they also, I know they did an action on the ICE center that's in Camarillo too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're all around just badasses. And
maybe to pin this on the show, because I don't know if we've ever said it, but we've covered ICE and how they're shitty.
Yeah,
but
we've done.
Abolish ICE, of course. Get rid of, and we can freaking completely redo the Department of Homeland Security too. Both of those were created way after,
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking ICE was 2003 or something.
Yeah, that was
remnants
Bush.
of Bush.
Yeah. Also, I forget if they're part of ICE or if they're part of the Homeland Security, but defund and abolish board tax.
Yeah, all that shit.
Yeah, we need to completely rethink on how we handle the border situation, and also something to think about. We had freedom of travel with Mexico up until the Reagan era. So life life didn't completely fall apart, and all these terrible things that racist people say about Mexico taking soft invasion or whatever. Where was that when we had freedom of travel? It didn't happen. So why would it happen all of a sudden?
Right.
It's just unfounded, and
it was just a narrative they pushed.
Exactly, and sadly, it's so widespread now, and we have to do a lot of work to change people's minds on that. But yeah, defund ICE, abolish board tax, completely redo our homeland security.
Right.
Just if you think illegal immigrants are stealing your jobs, just remember, go to the people who hired them first of all.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because obviously that gets spun on, people that.
Yeah, don't blame them looking for something to do, for opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do we get all the pictures up on the screen? Can we?
Yeah.
Move on? Okay.
We can go ahead and move on now.
Let's move on to shitting on Biden. Our favorite pastime. we gotta get ready for it because it still to me looks like Biden's gonna 4 years. Not 4 more years. I mean 4 years for Biden.
Pretty much 4 more years.
I don't know. I mean, like the people who hire illegal. I mean, the people who like exploit them. Because that's the main reason they would choose to hire them, is because they know they can get away with mistreating them.
Yeah, exactly. Which is another reason why we should push for everybody who wants to come and live here, so that they have a path to do so.
Right.
Yeah, we can have a whole talk about this specific subject. But
I think our mindset's like, with socialist solidarity internationally too, like that would obviously rid a lot of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we actually actively did that. This is from NPR. I hate NPR, so we're gonna use NPR and a screenshot from NPR to tell a whole story. Here it says, Merrick Garland among Biden candidates for Attorney General, sources say. Federal Appeals Court Judge Merrick Garland is under consideration to serve as Attorney General in the administration of President-elect Joe Biden. NPR has learned from 2 people closely following the process. Garland, 68, is a widely respected former Chief Judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals, widely respected, for the District of Columbia Circuit. He launched his career at the Justice Department decades ago. As we all know, he was, nominated to serve in the Supreme Court under Barack, and that was a whole debacle in itself. But can we pull up the screenshot here, in case you want any allusions to who this guy is? This is also from an NPR article. The whole article's garbage, so I just screenshotted it. NPR has gone. They went south way long ago because they're fucking funded by billionaires, but don't read that shit. Don't listen to their fucking pods or anything, please. It is not just conservative activists who object to Garland's record. Liberal activists do too. They notice that Garland, a former prosecutor, is less sympathetic to the rights of criminal defendants than most of his liberal and even some conservative colleagues on the appeals court. And there's quiet criticism too from liberals about his vote on national security issues, particularly the treatment of prisoners at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Most prominently in 2003, Garland and 2 Republican-appointed judges agreed with the Bush administration that the courts had no jurisdiction to hear the claims of wrongful imprisonment brought by Guantanamo detainees. The decision was subsequently reversed by the U.S. Supreme Court. But essentially they said, these people have no rights. We can torture them. They have no right to come to the courts and try to make a complaint that there was the wrongful imprisonment or anything like that. So don't have any allusions to who Biden might bring in here.
And this is the same fucking guy that Obama, limp wristed fucking tried to put in the Supreme Court after Scalia died.
Yeah,
this is the same piece of shit. And it's funny that it's like this guy, he's more conservative than some conservatives on certain issues, and just because he has a D next to his name, McConnell still wouldn't let him in.
Right. Yeah, and famously, Obama, in doing that, wasted, although we would probably argue on purpose, wasted a shit ton of political capital and basically just made the Dems lose, over the next 8 years, fucking drop the ball.
Yeah, and his lack of appointing judges everywhere was just him dropping the ball. Yeah, like you said, most likely on purpose, because
which Trump did not slip on.
No, hell no.
Trump judges is his thing.
Trump packed the courts red.
Right, which in the end they're not going to save him probably to get his presidency, but they will be in place now to
help do whatever they can to continue to do the
austerity.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this one before we move to the next?
Oh yeah, fuck Merrick Garland.
Yeah, that's in sum, that's pretty much it.
Was it him and Kavanaugh were the ones that served together?
Probably. So. I'm sure he has at some point.
And I think, if I remember correctly, it was something they'd vote together like 80 or 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which most of these judges do vote together like 80-90% of the time. And it's just ridiculous.
So more or less, you can just say Kavanaugh is pretty much what we would have gotten from Merrick Garland.
Yeah.
Not very much different.
Do we want to take this international, boys?
Yeah, let's go to our first and only video here. This, if you remember an old story we covered, we covered how there was this normalization of relations being pushed through like all these, Middle Eastern countries and Northern African countries to normalize their relations with Israel. But keyly in those deals, Israel had to make no promises about its annexation of the West Bank or its expansion of settlements. So they're just, what we, as we exposed, what was really happening is the U.S., we think, was pressuring all these countries so that they would normalize relations with Israel. They could trade, and they could trade weapons and money, and thus, but yet still, inflict a genocide on the Palestinians. And just, make this strategic alignment so that we can get more hawkish with Iran as well. This interview here, though, he's talking with, I think it's the information minister of Sudan, who is one of those countries that normalized relations with Israel. This is Ahmed Kabalo. You should check his stuff out too. He's good. Let's play it. It's short. It's only like 30 seconds.
For the victims' families. In the last few months, and then the question of normalization with Israel was raised. And what was not raised only with Sudan, as you may say, with Emirates, with Bahrain, with other countries. And we insisted on two things, that separation of the two issues. We used to say...
Can you pause right there? He's saying, he's referring to him talking between him and Mike Pompeo. So Mike Pompeo saying, we're going to get you and the United Arab Emirates, etc., in on this normalization. And we can play it again.
That was said to Secretary of State Bambi when he came to Sudan, that these are two separate issues. Delisting Sudan from SST, we are negotiating on that in 7 or 8 months. Normalization with Israel is a very controversial issue. It could be discussed, of course. There's no problem in that, in discussing it in Sudanese media or discussion with the public, whatever it is. It could be discussed, but separated from the delisting of Sudan from SST. This is number one. Number two,
so we could pause there, and that's where we can end it. So what he's saying tied in, what it needs to be tied into number one, and he says this early in the interview, and I'd recommend checking the interview out. Sudan's starving, and both economic sanctions from the U.S. as well as just general austerity and imperialism, they're like, hey, we'll normalize the deal with Israel if you stop fucking us in the ass first. And and even, he's like, hey, that's a controversial issue, but we can get it done. A horrible thing, this deal is, but we can get it done if it means you're going to help our people. And they've dangled that over them. But as he goes on in the interview, they've done nothing to help them from COVID, help them economically at all. The U.S., that is.
Yeah.
So, fuck Israel and
solidarity with the people of Sudan.
Yeah, Sudan, Palestine, of course.
Yeah, of course. Fuck Israel. Before we move on, this just reminded me of something. I just linked it right now in staff. It's a short timestamp from the BET Awards when Cordae did that freestyle, and he brought up Sudan at the end. I thought it'd be cool to play really quick.
Yeah.
Because Cordae always got some really smart, some really good shit to say. Yeah, you could just play it, and then when his verse is over, we can stop it.
See, I know how it feels in the late night, swimming with the great whites, drowning in the deep waters. Know you got 3 daughters, could use some resources. Now we just need order. I got my own bad news, forget a reporter. Man, we ain't
Fuck a
even safe,
reporter.
they wanna deport us, or rather keep us boxed in on the street corners. You gon' stop and frisk her? Man, at least warn us. My dog's still on probation, they got a leash on us. Far from stupid, in fact, I'm smarter than Harvard students. Spark the movement and put an end to this garbage music. Got me thinking like this can't be life. Man, y'all idiots, y'all voted for the Antichrist. Living in this false reality, it's in this picture gallery. Based on a person's profile, we guess a salary. Lifestyles that's advertised, quite strategized. Make a minimal amount and then we maximize. Y'all people capping with lies, how they capitalize. Creating their own perception with a massive facade. Digital marketing schemes, even broader regime. Live how you want on the internet, who thought of this thing? Now I'm a new man, need to find a new plan. God bless America, God bless Sudan. Now I'm a new man, need to find a new plan. God bless America, and God bless Sudan.
You can stop it there. Yeah. Just fire bars from Cordae. Cordae's a fire rapper. Oh. Thank you, Alex, for the follow, bro. Appreciate you.
Oh, hell yeah, we love follows.
Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, just some fireworks from Cordae before we move on. And then he does a little shout out to Sudan there.
Hell yeah. Okay, so can we pull up the little Twitter video we have first, Carlos? And let's just let this play and then we'll talk about it. Bulls on parade. Bow down, 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 down. So in case you didn't see the, yeah, it is badass. In case you didn't see the Twitter text over this video, it's the Congress of Guatemala being burned. And now we can pull up the Guardian article, and I'll read a little bit of that, and then we'll have some discussion, because I think this doesn't quite tell the full story, but it tells you what's happening right now. This is from the Guardian. Guatemala protesters set Congress on fire during budget protests. Public anger targets President Alejandro Giammattei over cuts to education and health. Hundreds of protesters broke into Guatemala's Congress and burned part of the building amid growing demonstrations against President Alejandro Giammattei and the legislature for approving a budget that cut educational and health spending. The incident on Saturday came as about 10,000 people were protesting in front of the National Palace in Guatemala City against corruption in the budget, which protesters say was negotiated and passed by legislators in secret while the Central American country was distracted by the fallout of back-to-back hurricanes and the COVID-19 pandemic. About 1,000 protesters were demonstrating outside the Congress building. A video on social media, as we just saw, showed flames coming out of a window in the legislative building. Police fired tear gas at protesters, and about a dozen people were reported injured. We are outraged by poverty and justice, the way they have stolen the public's money, said Rosa de Chavarria, a psychology professor. I feel like the future is being stolen from us. We don't see any changes. This cannot continue like this, added Mauricio Ramirez, a 20-year-old university student. The amount of damage to the building was unclear, but the fire appears to have affected a legislative office rather than the main halls of Congress. Protesters also set bus stations on fire. Giammattei condemned the incidents via Twitter on Saturday. It's very similar to Joe Biden condemning the Philadelphia protests. He said, quote, "Anyone who is proven to have participated in the criminal acts will be punished with the full force of the law," unquote. He said he defended people's rights to protest, but, quote, "neither can we allow people to vandalize public or private property," unquote. Meaning, don't.
I love when people lie. Just, do you support the protests? Sure, yeah, except it's like, just say no, dude.
What do you mean allowing it? These people are being arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can stop there because the part, the Guardian is obviously covering the recent surge for the protests, and we know that the economic hit and COVID-19 has spurred and them specifically these educational cuts and budget cuts. But we know the reality is with Guatemala specifically, like, not only did they have a puppet like as their president, but there's suffering ramifications that go all the way back to the fucking 50s. Like,
yeah,
the corruption and the poverty and the things that they're describing that's making them mad, the injustice, that's been since the coup in, like, what was it, 53 or 54 in Guatemala?
53, I believe.
Yeah, since
Or
then.
54, yeah.
Yeah, and of
When
course we've got back in there. Our men, yeah, democratically elected leader.
You put out and you put in Castillo Mas, and yeah,
we went back in there too, like in the 80s.
Yeah, it's
so
disgusting. The U.S.'s role in Latin America is as well as it's disgusting, and it's really set these countries back.
Yes, but it is always cool to see Latin America how much
they bounce back. Yeah,
and just how willing they are to get their heads in the game, run through the fire,
Yeah, not to take away from anybody else, but I love looking at Bolivia as an example.
Yeah, against all odds.
Yeah, against all odds, the indigenous people of that country truly are making strides.
They got cooed. You'd think it'd be over.
Yeah,
and they came back.
They're getting bombarded by economic sanctions, cooed, COVID, yeah, and through the mobilization of the indigenous people, not any sort of government, not any sort of lib groups or anything, but through the solidarity of the indigenous people working towards reinstating their socialist leader, they got this change, and it's
right.
you can't look at it any other way.
Yeah, and it's like there's bittersweet moments in it too. Like, it's not without struggle. Like, I can't remember. It was something Gutierrez, the union leader that was murdered post them coming back. Like,
yeah,
it's all a grand struggle that, people are going to die and tragic things are going to happen. But the Latin American people in general just have a resolve that, I mean, I wish we had. For sure.
Well, I think
we do have it in our community, for sure.
They understand how much worse things are.
Yeah, well, because they've gotten the worst end of the stick for a long time.
And it was Orlando Gutierrez, rest in peace.
Orlando, yeah,
he was the mining leader mining union leader who was tragically killed by fascists. So yeah, rest in peace, Orlando Gutierrez.
Yeah. And we'll keep a tab on this Guatemala story, see if this percolates into something else. So
percolates.
I got words.
Big book man over here.
If it materializes into something, we can.
If it congeals.
It congeals. What's the shit when they make cheese and they put it through the like, you know what I'm talking about?
Wait, do the motion again? How?
Like when they sift
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They lift the whey or whatever.
Yeah, we'll wait to see if Guatemala's protest has more osmosis into our sphere.
Mitochondria.
Powerhouse of the cell.
Powerhouse of the Guatemalan cell.
Anyone got any final thought? I think we're coming in like a pretty nice time here, actually.
Yeah, we're here hour 20 minutes. We got through all of our articles. If anybody has like final thoughts, let's talk about it. If not, I think
questions, chat.
Yeah, chat. Anybody in chat has a question, we'll wait a minute.
Things you want us to cover?
Yeah. If you also, that as well. If you have anything you want us to cover specifically, if you've seen anything that nobody's really talked about, including us, type it in chat. Or if you don't want to type in chat because you're a little nervy, reach out to us on our Twitter and Instagram. It's at Spoop Podcast. DM us. We always answer. Maybe not immediately. We sleep, or he sleeps. I don't. But yeah, we'll get back to you, and we're always interested to see what you guys want to talk about.
Should we let Michael have the final word?
Yeah, Michael, you have anything to say, bud?
I would love to speak. I
What's
don't know.
this?
Well, I mean,
The Matrix is breaking.
yeah, the Matrix is breaking. You actually joined.
I heard my name.
But
Wait,
yeah,
so you were just sitting here watching this the whole time?
how much homework did you do,
In the
Michael?
background, yeah. I'm done. I just completed
Okay, just making sure,
2
buddy.
minutes ago.
Okay, just making sure.
But I'm here. What do you mean? I'm
for
right
you-
here in stream.
For,
I'm
for
sitting
those
here.
who didn't
You
notice,
ready to do
Michael-
the episode, Michael? You didn't miss anything.
Yeah, we were just
okay.
starting. We're just starting.
For those who didn't notice, Michael will not be alive within 24 hours. I guarantee it.
If you want to see the live beheading, go ahead and check out our Patreon.
Yeah. Our minimum member is like $30.
Yeah, it's $30, and you're gonna watch Michael
I
get
fully
beheaded.
support it.
Yeah, Patreon.com.
Well, actually, no. I have something worse. We won't behead him. We'll just paint him red, and then
Yeah, we.
apparently it's a worse fate.
Yes. In a video game.
No,
Not in the stream. You don't want to be painted red
Find us-
for
Not
the
in the
stream.
it's Patreon. Twitch doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So you want to sign us off, Michael?
Yes, thank you everyone for watching the stream. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the follows and the interaction in chat. Be sure to check out Ox Rev Study, as they're really cool people, and you guys should really check them out. Yeah, I mean, we just really enjoy you guys being here. Oh, and we'll also be here next Wednesday at same time, 10:30, and Sundays as well as 10:30. So be sure to check those out.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Michael said it great. Like I said after we got back from the break, if you are watching and you don't have an account, please create an account and follow us. It really helps us. And you also get to interact with us, as well as you can press the follow button and get notifications when we go live so you never miss an episode. Follow us on Twitter at Spoop Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Spoop Podcast. Our YouTube channel is just called Spoop. You'll find us. You can just type in the SPOOPCAST name that you see on the screen, and the video will pop up. All the links in there, all the links to everything we talked about will be inside the description of the video. That will be up tomorrow at 10:30. And like we always say at the end of every show, be the change, organize in your locality, do what you got to do to, really affect change where you live, as well as, workers of the world unite. I always say that. And if nobody else has anything to say, let's get the mics muted.
Wait, I object. I
object.
Stop the wedding. Stop the wedding. I have something to say.
He dies?
Someone's trying to stall, I think.
I'm from New York,
Because
but I've
there's
never been a fan of the Knicks.
That's about to happen in the next few minutes here.
Oh, it's true. Wait, yeah, we can wait one more minute. We can wait one more minute.
What's gonna happen? I think we should.
If people have an account, can they type happy birthday in the chat at midnight? It is Ian Brown's birthday at midnight. Well, what time are you actually born at? Do you know?
9:52 or 10:52 at night.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Well, whatever. According to the law,
I'm officially 21 here in
we live in a
20 seconds.
lawless world, but according to the law, you're 21 tomorrow.
It's true. A couple of seconds, or 10 seconds, I will be 21 years of age. I'm officially a grandpa. If somebody wants to buy me a walking cane, that'd be pretty nice. Maybe give me one of those chairs that I can go upstairs with. Thank you.
You can have your first beer now.
I can have my first beer. I've never drinking anything.
My first ever drink.
Thank you, Michael. It
Happy
is.
birthday.
Happy
Eian.
birthday.
Thank you.
Ian.
Thank you. I'm fucking. It's setting.
Beautiful.
You're an old.
You're
It's setting.
beautiful. It's true.
grandpa.
You're beautiful.
Ah!
I was gonna say we can sign off by playing the happy birthday song, but I
It
think
was
that's
also your
probably-
first
Yeah, we're
time
gonna get
smoking
DMCA
marijuana?
for that.
Yeah.
This is my first hit of weed ever legally.
Wait, we'd get DMCA for the happy birthday. Who fucking owns the
Yeah,
rights to the happy birthday song?
Some fucking dumbass.
I'm an asshole.
Hey, thank you, Christina, for the happy birthday.
Holy shit! It's fucking Carlisle Group. No, I'm kidding.
It's the Brookings
I
Institute.
should have
Okay,
known
but
they'd
yeah,
buy it.
Eian.
we're dragging. Thank you guys
Yeah.
so much for watching. Workers of the World Unite. Be the change in your locality. Organize, organize, organize. Shout out Oxrev studying Oxnard Revolutionary Student Group, Oxnard_ISN. Check them out. Drop a follow. Create an account if you were watching and you enjoyed what you saw. We'll be back Wednesday at 10:30, like Michael just said. If nobody has anything to say, camera's cut. We'll see you guys. Have a good night.
Would you look at the time? I guess we should be going